As COVID-19 cases continue to rise throughout the community, many Australian businesses are encouraging staff to work from home more frequently. And while hybrid work and digital workspaces have created opportunity and flexibility, they've also highlighted a new set of challenges for business leaders. There's a tension between effective security and employee experience. Joining us once again from Citrix Consulting is Managing Director Martin Cregan. Morning, Martin. Good to have you back.
Thanks, Michael. Good morning. How are you?
Great, thanks. Now, from the work you've done around the area of hybrid work and digital workspaces, you've actually found a number of fascinating facts. Can you walk us through them?
Yeah, I think that as you mentioned, as companies continue to digitize and transform into the digital era, and as we continue to embrace hybrid work, we're definitely seeing multiple challenges being coming up and being addressed. However, we think one of the biggest challenges that is really important for organizations and enterprises, and specifically IT departments to keep aware of or look out for, is the concept of securing your workforce in this new hybrid world. It's really important. It tends to be sometimes an afterthought. People think, oh, I need to actually support hybrid work, and we need to give our workers or employees that flexibility and choice. But that flexibility and choice, as well as employee experience, also needs to be secure.
I suppose everything comes with a cost, and there's always these, what do they call them, bad actors, looking for the ability to exploit. And while sometimes we're not even the target, we're just a way of getting to the actual target they want. How do they practice good hygiene? And is it as simple as putting security systems in place, or is it a little bit of staff awareness as well?
I definitely think it's both, putting the security systems in place and awareness. There can never be enough awareness. And in fact, a lot of folks, as I mentioned, they get on their workstations and they just want to actually have a really easy experience. But sometimes you're going to have to take that extra step of adding an extra security layer to make sure you're getting a secure and easy experience. As you mentioned, Michael, the COVID-19 restrictions really were the catalyst of this hybrid work from home, work from anywhere philosophy. And a lot of enterprises took the opportunity to really accelerate their digital transformation through this period. But once again, they can't forget about security. There were over 67,000 cybercrime reports in Australia during the 2020-2021 financial year, 67,000. And this resulted in losses of more than $33 billion. So it's super important that we actually raise the awareness, and we're keeping the security campaigns going to make sure that users are aware of what's happening out in the marketplace. But we also have to make sure from an organizational or enterprise point of view that we are providing the security frameworks that are required to enable remote work. And we believe that zero trust, or the zero trust framework, is that gold standard, and balancing security standards whilst giving the employee experience what they need in a hybrid world. So giving them the capability to work on any device, anywhere, at any time, and doing it securely.
Given by those staggering figures you just mentioned, Martin, it seems that it wasn't really a priority given the outcomes that you've mentioned. Have we missed the ball, or are we playing catch up?
I think it's a little bit of both, because the security complexity and the complexity of the working environment is changing at a rapid pace. And Australians themselves are accessing the network from multiple different locations and multiple different devices. And many organizations are also allowing things like BYOD, or bring your own device, either for their employers or their suppliers or maybe their contractors, etc. So when you're doing that and you're trying to enable access, and you're trying to do it in a very easy manner, what you're also doing is increasing the complexity of how do I secure this environment. So right now today, we see over 40% of Australians have either engaged with remote or hybrid work capabilities, and 70% of businesses now are enabling BYOD. So that's a big uptick. In before, we used to have a secured lockdown environment. Now we're enabling BYOD, and we're actually authorizing or giving the capability to our employees to engage in remote and hybrid working, which means now my security environment has become even more complex. And that's something that I certainly have to address.
Well, so now is obviously the time for business leaders to ensure that they've put that zero trust principle into place so that the employees can still have the easy access to the company apps and data without compromising that security or even adding more complexity.
Absolutely, and here's the really interesting part as well. As they're enabling remote work and hybrid work, as they're trying to make the employee experience easier, as we're enabling things like BYOD, as I mentioned, the environment's getting a little bit more complex. And if IT departments, and specifically the security office in those IT departments, if they're not moving fast enough, what we're seeing is we're seeing many folks in the organization going outside of IT and downloading applications or subscribing to cloud-based services. It's so easy. You can do it in a matter of seconds. So I suppose the entrepreneurial types within our organizations are thinking, hey, I got to go get this done. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get it done. And they're going outside of IT. This is commonly, you would have probably heard this in the past, Michael, this is commonly referred to as shadow IT. Where now people are going outside of IT to get either applications or to get access to cloud services, et cetera, so they can get ahead of whatever they need to get ahead of. So not only is the environment becoming more complex, and not only is there more devices and there's BYOD, and so there's different devices, more complexity, but now there's more impatience as well. People are trying to go outside. So IT has a really big task on their hands, and they have to make sure that they're staying ahead of it and enabling a great experience, but also making sure that our applications and data are secure.
I suppose this really crosses a few what used to be silos as well. It's a security risk. There's a reputational risk if your customers are negatively impacted. There's a privacy risk that could go on. Where does this sit, Martin? Which department, or all of them?
All of them across the board. I mean, I think all business leaders need to ensure that their data and applications are in fact safe. Businesses today, they need a modern, secure desktop. Applications and data strategy needs to be secure. It needs to be delivered, and it needs to reflect the way the employees or the users work today. So it's a big job, but they need to stay ahead of it. And we believe that desktop as a service, or DaaS, is an opportunity to really address that criteria. It offers improved time to value. It gives organizations the ability to reduce their cost, and it enhances security. So when you're using a desktop as a service capability and enabling virtual environments, what you can do is really protect the applications and data within your enterprise by monitoring through security analytics and app protection. Who's coming into the environment, who has access to what application, who's downloading what information, and so on, so you can actually keep control of your environment. And basically, utilizing or underpinning that is the principle of zero trust. So zero trust itself, as you know, Michael, is the IT security framework founded on the principles of never trust, always verify. And that is so important when you're talking about this new hybrid world. We always need to operate on the principles of, I'm not going to trust any device that's trying to access my network or my applications. I'm going to make sure I always verify. And that's why we believe that technologies that are out there like DaaS are really important. I think you probably heard me talk about before, Michael, you probably heard me talk about this, the Trinity, what I call a Trinity of workplace success, which is giving our employees the flexibility to work remotely or in a hybrid world. We're giving them choice, which is what device, what day do they come into the office, et cetera. And pardon me, we give them innovation or tech. And that innovation and tech piece is, what devices are they using, and do they have the technology to support their hybrid work world? Well, DaaS supports all of that, and DaaS is the enabler of giving them that tech or that innovation that ensures that our applications and our data is secure, as our users are anywhere on any device at any time accessing our applications and our network.
How do small to medium enterprises, or even small business, go about this? Do they outsource it? Is it a matter now you've got to create a completely new position and department? Where do they go to get the beginning, Martin?
It's a great question. So what we're finding is many of the small to medium businesses are looking at a managed service of sorts, right? For an example, many of our partners, our service provider partners, offer what we call a managed DaaS service, or a managed desktop as a service capability. And what that is giving these small to medium businesses the opportunity to work with these partners, and for a very low entry cost, get the capabilities that DaaS provides for you. So you're getting the capability to access your network and your applications in a secure manner, and you have a partner or technology partner helping you by providing that managed service to you at a low cost. And they can do it, anywhere from, let's say 10, 20, 50 users all the way up to thousands of users, and they can offer that service on a month-to-month basis.
And it's a cost that's akin to fire insurance. If you've got a bricks and mortar, you simply cannot go without it. It's a false economy not to have it, I imagine.
Absolutely. I mean, every organization, and this is why I said it's so important, Michael, is that every organization right now is looking at how can we actually enable our workforce in a hybrid world. But what they really need to do is really think about that as how can we securely enable our workforce in a hybrid world, and utilizing the right tech, the right innovation, the right technology, the right services such as DaaS can really make a difference to securing their applications and their data, doing it in the right way, meeting that zero trust criteria that they need, and keep their information and their IP secure. It's a perfect example that you use with insurance, because everybody thinks they don't need it until the disaster happens. And we've seen many disasters over the last number of years in regards to breaches, data breaches, and privacy breaches, and we have new privacy legislation that needs to be adhered to, et cetera. So making sure that security is front and center is absolutely important as organizations are looking at how do they enable their hybrid workforce.
And I imagine another analogy I'll throw in, not getting it done is akin to being too busy, too much of a hurry to put petrol in the car and running out a little bit further down the road because you were so busy.
Yeah, you're stuck on the side of the road and
Yep.
thinking to yourself, why didn't I go get the petrol? Absolutely, it's a perfect analogy. It's something that needs to be addressed. And as I mentioned, the thing that we're seeing as I'm out in the marketplace talking to our customers and our partners, the thing that we're seeing is unfortunately the concept of how do we do that securely comes up in many cases far too late in the conversation. We need to be thinking about it up front. So yes, I want to enable hybrid work. I want to support my employees, and I want to make sure that they have the flexibility, that they have the choice, and they have the innovation and the tech. But I also need to make sure that tech is providing a secure environment. And zero trust right now is the way to go. Zero trust, that framework itself, is really replacing the older technologies that were used in the past for remote working, such as VPN-based technology. And VPN was really about setting up a one-to-one type of a connection, whereas in a zero trust world and in a hybrid world today, with the technology we're seeing, with the multiple endpoints, multiple end devices, any location, multiple different networks, Wi-Fi from the coffee shop or at home versus your corporate network in the office and so on. Zero trust is the framework that I would say 90+%, 99+% of organizations are moving to make sure that they actually have a secure environment.
Yeah. And am I right in saying that as good as what your system is, clicking on the link for the $1 million from the Nigerian prince is where the majority of phishing and spamming and that comes from? Not some brilliant computer hacker that's basically Rain Man in a basement. It's just somebody that just happened to click on the wrong link that lets them in.
Absolutely. And this is once again why the awareness is so important as well. Making sure, and perfect example at Citrix just last week, our security team sent out another reminder in regards to phishing emails and ransomware and what to look out for, and we also have a training that takes place on a quarterly basis that all of our employees have to take to make sure that they refresh themselves in all of those areas, so that we're not clicking on that link to get the $1 million, and next thing you know, we actually have a data breach or something of that nature. So awareness is absolutely still very critical, and in the space, in the small to medium business space, sometimes that awareness isn't where it needs to be. So we need to keep the awareness campaigns happening and use the tech. So the tech is going to help protect us. But to your point, 90+% of breaches happen from, the innocent employee clicking on a link that they shouldn't have actually clicked on, and they weren't paying attention, or they weren't aware of what the actual threats were. And human error is what's really causing some of the actual big security challenges that we have these days.
Great. Thanks so much for the important information. Martin Cregan from Citrix. We'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks, Michael.